Good morning and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Today I would like to acknowledge the ancestors and give thanks to the ancestors. I give thanks and I acknowledge the ancestors who lived in such a way that humanity was of one mind and one heart and one soul, that the goal of life was to do no harm and was to elevate the minds, bodies, and spirits of all living creatures. I give thanks to those ancestors who came before myself, who communicated with the animal spirits and the plant kingdom and all of humanity and all of heaven to bring about a most dynamic and healthy and strong and vibrant experience of life for every human being who would come to the earth. I give thanks to those ancestors for fighting against the forces of weakness, of laziness, of deception, of evil. I give thanks to all of the ancestors who live their lives devoted to healing the earth of all damage, to healing the human race, the human species, and the human soul of damage from the past. I give thanks to the ancestors for their commitment to discovering God's will on the earth, for discovering the vision of which the Most High Creator of humanity has placed in the hearts and the minds of every living creature on this earth. As this earth is the birthing place of the human race, and it is the place where the human race is to manifest the highest version of itself. And the ancestors that came before, who heard these words from the elders, and who spent time with the elders, listening to them, and documenting their words, and remembering their stories, and retelling their stories, and handing the stories down throughout the ages, so that our modern day world might have an inkling of the original vision and the original knowledge. I give thanks to the ancestors for documenting everything that they could. I give thanks to them for telling the stories through dance and through song, through costumes. I give thanks to them for sharing their stories, sharing these archetypal human stories which are so important and so necessary for our human development today. I give thanks for their wisdom and for their devotion and for their sharing. I give thanks to them for caring about the future generations. I give thanks to them for all that they have done in the ways of designing and creating systems of governance that are fair and that are respectful to each and every member of the human society and of the earth kingdom, as all animals, plants, and human beings are important, as ancestors are important, as God is important, as all of the elements in this kingdom of earth are extremely important and require reverence and care. I give thanks to those ancestors for the reverent attitude and the reverent approach that they demonstrated in their daily lives as living on the earth as harmoniously and harmlessly, lovingly and caringly as possible, cultivating safe and appropriate methods of human survival that did no harm to the earth or to the animal kingdoms. The ancestors had a very reverent way of approaching the whole issue of preparing meals for themselves and cultivating the land and rotating crops and giving thanks to animals who were slain in order to feed humanity and clothe humanity. The ancestors have ways, Indian ways, and these ways are the answer for us today. If only we could reconnect with those Indian ways and understand how we're meant to live on this earth so that we can do no harm, so that we have a desire to do no harm to any living creature on this earth. Even if you slay a living animal, you can be of value to that animal and that animal's progeny. I give thanks for the ancestors and to the ancestors for leaving this knowledge for me and for my generation, that we may once again discover the Indian ways, that we may once again discover the ways of nature and living in a natural way, the ways of the goddess and of the great mother who loves and nurtures her children, who loves and nurtures and heals and is patient and caring with her children. Thank you for watching this video. Have a very blessed day. I give thanks to the ancestors who cared for this earth, the land that I'm standing on today, the land who, because of their devotion and their love and their care, is thriving with life. I give thanks to the ancestors who lived in absolute harmony with the natural world and who communicated with nature as a daily practice and as a way of life. I give thanks to those ancestors for their devotion to stewardship of Mother Gaia, for the loving ways and the loving care and the carefulness of which they lived upon this earth in order to do no harm. I give thanks to the ancestors who created magnificent works of beauty and art and creativity through dancing and singing and painting and decorating, and the joyousness at which these tasks were performed. I give thanks to all of the magical artists who made life spectacular and dynamic and interesting with their beauty and their magic. I give thanks to the ancestors who innovated in their practices of building machines and conveniences that would make human life easier and make things possible, such as long-distance travel and long-distance communication. I am grateful to the ancestors who innovated in matters of wisdom and spiritual knowledge, the seekers, the sages, and those who live their life completely devoted to the acquisition of spiritual knowledge. I give thanks to those ancestors for bridging the gap between heaven and earth and bringing communication into the minds of human beings that is divine and exalted and heavenly. I give thanks to the ancestors who appreciated and worshipped the divine feminine and the divine female attributes of life and values of life: caring, healing, loving, sharing, friendship. I give thanks to all of the ancestors who have come before myself, who have stepped foot on this earth to make it a better place, and who have cared for this earth and who have cared for themselves and cared for humanity in such a way that humanity might have a better chance of having a positive outcome.